everyone, this is Griffin Station back here with another Jump Force video, and today's video is another characters people want. And the series we're going to be discussing is Fist of the North Star. And this is a unique one considering as of last week, we didn't know that Kenshiro was going to be confirmed for Jump Force this week. And so, with that knowledge in mind, we're still going to play this off as if this series hasn't been officially announced, although we all know that it has been confirmed. And as you all know with this series, we take the comments from the previous video's comment section and put them on the screen, and these comments were before Kenshiro was announced, so that is all good. And so without further ado, let's jump right into this. Our first couple of comments want both the characters Kenshiro and Rao, and here's what they have to say. Baby Image IR says, definitely Kenshiro and Rao. Michael Dos Santos says Kenshiro and Rao. Ruin Fate says Kenshiro and Rao. And then Sensei Senpai Sama-san says, I'm not really familiar with Fist of the North Star, so I'm going to say Kenshiro and whoever the main antagonist is are going to make it in. And in this one I'm assuming they're meaning Rao, since Rao, while not the final villain of the series, is the main antagonist when you think of Fist of the North Star. And obviously these two characters were in J-Stars. Kenshiro is already confirmed for Jump Force. And if you're going to choose a second character from Fist of the North Star, Rao makes perfect sense. He is the primary antagonist of the entire series, or at least a good chunk of the series. His presence is even felt after his death in Part 2, and it just would make a lot of sense if they just decided to include him. They already made that decision when they made J-Stars, and so when they're making Jump Force and they want to put in another Fist of the North Star character, Rao is probably the way to go. Dragonoid Fox says Kenshiro and Rao and Rei as DLC. So obviously we already have Kenshiro and Rao as listed before, but Rei I feel is a great choice for somebody to pick, and it would actually make sense if they only did Rao and Kenshiro in the base game, and Rei would be a great DLC character. In fact, he would just be great in the base game overall. Rei, I feel, has an immense impact on the series. His death is just so tragic, and honestly, he's one of those characters that I really wanted to see in this game after I had caught up with the Fist of the North Star series. When I was watching it, I was thinking which characters in this series could make it into Jump Force, and Rei was one that just stood out to me as a prime example of a character that, although he's not in it the entirety of the series, he makes a lasting impact for when he is there. Derek Haggard says, I would love to see Kenshiro because he's a cool fighting style with the Hakuto Shinken, along with being the iconic main protagonist of the series. And yep, Kenshiro's in, so that's great to hear. And Rei, because he's an awesome friendly rival to Kenshiro, and his Nanto Seiken style would be awesome to see in the game. And yeah, so far we only have Hokuto, so I think I agree. Rei's fighting style would be great to see in this game. Rao, simply because he's the iconic villain that comes up most when talking about Fist of the North Star, plus his moves would make for an awesome villain to fight against. And finally, a wild card choice, but I'm going with Part 2 Bat, because Bat in Part 2 was definitely one of the highlights of Fist of the North Star, due to him not only being a great supporting ally to Kenshiro, but others, and also bringing a bit of light-hearted humor to a time of bleak situations, along with amazing fighting styles that had him use his hand-to-hand combat in combination with a handheld crossbow. And yeah, Bat really grew into a great place, and as far as a character growth, I honestly did not expect him to become such an amazing character, and if they were going to include Part 2 Bat, I think that would be great. The series starts off with him being a kid, and so just seeing him being able to grow up and even be able to make a sacrifice play for Kenshiro's sake, it's just simply amazing. I think he would be an amazing addition to this game as well. Chad Bluck says, Kenshiro, Rao, Rei, and Sheen, it's the only characters I know and like. And Sheen's the new character that's listed on this, and I feel that Sheen has great importance, but maybe not as great importance as Rao, and so that's why he's not mentioned as much, considering he is the first villain of the series, and he does have a lasting impact, but compared to Rao, he just doesn't hold up as strongly. It'd still be cool to see because he was a really intriguing character, and also was the one that sort of built up the foundations of Fist of the North Star. Two others that also want Sheen are Joshua Rikio, which says, for Fist of the North Star, I'd like to see Kenshiro, Rei, Sheen, and Rao. And Zach Stevens, which says, I would love to get Kenshiro, Rao, Rei, and Sheen. So just because Rao is the most popular and the most thought of villain when you think of Fist of the North Star doesn't mean that Sheen is unimportant. Sheen, I feel, really could make it into this game if they're going to include multiple villains. We will just have to wait and see, but Sheen would be a great addition as well. Our next two comments want the character Toki. And here's Johnny starts it off with Kenshiro, Rao, Toki, and Rei. Also really important random touch since the game is more edge than J-Stars. How about bloody, gory explosions after the Hokuto moves? The key burst thing they had in J-Stars just didn't feel true to the source material. And then Thucktran says, I want Kenshiro, Rao, Rei, and maybe Toki and Sheen. Toki, I feel, is such an integral part to the Fist of the North Star series, along with a lot of the other characters. I know I've been saying this a lot, but a lot of these characters, while they aren't through the entirety of the series, they leave such a big lasting impact that I feel it would be a shame if they didn't include some of these characters. I feel his relationship with Rao, and if Rao makes it in, gives Toki a great edge over some other characters making it in, and just because he is a great and well-rounded character that I feel he could potentially make it in. Our next two comments want the character Jaggi, and here's what they say. Guts says, they'll be showing gameplay of Ken and Rao. If they aren't, then they'll be losing me already unless someone is added or changed. If they want to go further, they can add Toki and Jaggi, and maybe Rei as well. I don't see them caring so much about the series, so I assume Rao is only antagonist added, since they're considering the international market. And then they go on about Japanese fans and how they would probably get more characters if this was included only for Japan and not worldwide. But we'll talk about Jaggi. Jaggi, I feel, is a really interesting choice to go with for characters from Fist of the North Star. He doesn't have as big of a presence as some of the other characters mentioned already in this list, but he does have an iconic moment just pretending to be Kenshiro. While not one of the most important antagonists in the series, he does still leave an impact and, more importantly, an image in your mind, because I feel when they're choosing characters for this game, they want to make the characters iconic, and I feel Jaggi, although he doesn't really have as big of an importance, is still a character that we all remember if we've read or watched the series. And Wes Grouser 59 says, for Hokuto no Ken, Kenshiro and Rao are obvious, but I really want to see Hyo, Jaggi, and Rei. And Hyo is also added into this comment, which I am surprised I haven't seen him mentioned before, because he is the final villain before Kenshiro, loses his memory and such, but he still is quite an integral antagonist, and he left a really great impression on me, so that's why I'm just surprised I haven't seen him mentioned. I know that Rao is a lot more popular. I think Rao is a better and more developed character over Hyo, but I'm still a little surprised I haven't seen him mentioned until now. Our last two comments want the character Thouser or Souther. Ome Heartless 21 says, for Fist of the North Star, well, Kenshiro and Rao are going to be in, but I say we shouldn't just get someone that's using the Hokuto Shinken style, though Rao does use Go no Ken. So someone like Souther or Thouser, Sheen, Rei, or Judah. Okay, but let's not pick Judah, and I'm fine with that. I'm not adding Judah to my list because you said that. And V Colon says, my favorite anime of all time. even my favorite fighting game for the PS2 of all time. But for the terms of characters on my list, I would want to see 3 Hokuto brothers if they include Jagi 2, Kenshiro, Toki, and Rao. Also, Rei and Thouser. Hopefully the stage we have is the Holy Emperor Cross Mausoleum. And something I quickly want to mention before I get to Thouser is this is our first time actually seeing somebody request that they want a specific stage from this game. And so I'll add that to my list because that's a great addition. So not only would you, if you guys want to see boss fights in the story mode of certain characters, leave your comments on what stages from these series you also want. And as far as Thouser, he also is just a small part of the series, but I feel that small part is really impactful. I'm just remembering that iconic moment when Shu is carrying the pyramid, and it just is such an iconic and massive moment of the series that Souther as a character, or Thouser, is also iconic. And that's what I feel is the problem of the series. There's so many iconic moments that it's hard for me to choose which characters really stand out. They all just are so magnificently written that I feel it's sort of hard for me. But I have created my own list, and here they are. My first character I want, and is already in, is obviously Kenshiro. And so we already know that Fist of the North Star has made it in, and Kenshiro is the main character, so obviously he's going to be in. He is in the game, and so we don't have to worry about Kenshiro making it in. But as far as my second character, this shouldn't come as a surprise. Everyone requested this character, and that's Rao. Rao is such an influential part of the series. He is probably the most well-liked antagonist out of all the villains. All of the villains are really great, but Rao is just a step above the rest, I feel. He is also the most iconic villain out of all of these icons that I feel that you can't just not include him. And as far as my next character, I think that they should also include Rei. Rei, as I said earlier in this video, is just one of those characters that I feel would be a missed opportunity if they didn't include him. He has such an impactful moment in the series. His death is so traumatic. And I feel that also his fighting style would just be unique if they were doing some Fist of the North Star fighting. I mean, we have the Hokuto Shinken with Kenshiro and probably Rao, but we need something to change it up a little bit if they're going to do another Fist of the North Star rep. And so I feel that Rei would just be a clear and great choice for that. For our next characters people want, we're going to be discussing the series, and I got this comment a lot in the last couple of videos, and that's going to be Kinnikuman. So leave your comment for which Kinnikuman characters you want in Jump Force. It really does look like that they're going to start including not as serious characters, I'm not going to say gag characters, but at least characters that aren't completely dead serious, considering Ryo was included. And I know Ryu's not technically a gag character, but Ryo is not also like deadly serious. And so that's why I'm going to be doing Kinnikuman next. I also do plan on going back to redo my Gintama one. I don't know when I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that the week after Kinnikuman. And so we'll just wait and see. But I sort of do not like how my Gintama one turned out. And I know that you all actually wanted to see a Characters People Want that was actually of Gintama. And so I'll be doing that at some point in the future. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video or found it informative, please leave a like. It'd be greatly appreciated. If you want to see more of my content, subscribe to the channel and turn on bell notifications so you are alerted whenever I upload. You can also click on the eye icon in the top right hand corner to see some of my recent videos. But other than that, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys in the next video or live stream. Bye!